WHIP, Philly's #1 college radio station.
All right, that's us, Philly's #1 college radio station, WHIP. 215-204-9449 is our number. We're going to go out to Denver right now. Eagles will fly out there on Friday as they get ready to take on the Denver Broncos, who are undefeated. LaShawn McCoy having some comments, Peyton Manning as well. So let's go out to Darren McKee, a guy that I see at Radio Row almost each and every year with Big Al from 104.3 The Fan. Darren, it's Zach Gelb and Chase Sr. Thanks so much for joining us, and how are you on this fine Thursday?
My pleasure. It's great to be with you guys. It's a sunny day here in the Rocky Mountain region. Things look gorgeous and bright and beautiful. How's the weather in Philly?
Well, it's still nice. I can still wear shorts and T-shirt to work, and it's 75 degrees, so the weather is going great here. But there was a special moment last night before we get to the Eagles and the Broncos in Colorado, and that was Todd Helton in his final home game going yard, and he even got a horse in the pregame. So that was a special moment last night out there in Colorado.
I was there. It was very cool. Very cool to play a meaningless baseball game that was fun to be at. So, yeah, it was a great moment for Todd and for the fans of Colorado. And just like Todd's career, he was great, and the Rockies were awful. So that's basically the story.
Why do you believe nationally he doesn't get as much credit? Because he's a really good baseball player when you look back at it.
He's discounted because everybody assumes everybody can hit the crap out of the ball at Coors Field, which is not necessarily true. And his biggest power numbers were during the height of the steroid era. Although Todd's never, he's not a steroid guy, never been convicted of that or anything like that. It just so happens he was at the height of his powers right there and then. I don't think that's really fair. I think his numbers are right up there with Stan Musial, who's in the Hall of Fame, and if Stan Musial's in the Hall of Fame, then Todd Helton should be in there. But, that'll be an argument for years and years and years.
Let's get to the talk of the town out there in Denver, and that has been this Broncos offense, and they've been a juggernaut through the first 3 games of the season. Peyton Manning looks like he's on his way to another regular season MVP. Both Thomases have been sensational so far through this season. Wes Welker has been put in, and he looks like he's been playing there for 10 years. And let's not forget about Eric Decker. How good can you see this offense be as the season progresses?
Best of all time. That's how I see it. I mean, if you want to measure offenses by yards, points, and wins, I think that is the possibility. Now, we've had this argument out here that things are easier for offenses. And my argument back to that is, well, then why aren't more teams doing this? It's really a talented crew. I don't know how you stop this Broncos offense, and I certainly don't know how Philadelphia's secondary is going to do that. I have plenty of respect for Chip Kelly and the offense, but are they going to put up 50 points? I don't know. I doubt it. They seem a little confused with what they're doing right now in terms of just putting games away. They get a lot of yards, but can they convert those to points? That's the difference. The Broncos offense gets the yards and gets the points, and it's a huge advantage having Peyton Manning and having Peyton Manning here for his second year where he's so much more comfortable.
Darren, it's Chase Sr. Thanks for hopping on board with us. LaShawn McCoy comes out yesterday and says, if I'm a betting man, I'll take the Philadelphia Eagles. He obviously has some room to boast considering he leads the NFL in rushing by nearly 100 yards and is off to one of the best starts in NFL history. Is there any talk out there in Denver about McCoy's comments? Because I know Chip Kelly responded back to Peyton Manning and his comments that he made after the game against the Raiders, and now McCoy comes out and gives a little jab to Denver.
First of all, anybody making a big deal about what Peyton Manning said about the refs in the NFL, anybody who makes a big deal of that is a total idiot. And he said that.
Well, then we've had a lot of idiots on the station this week because we've had so many callers say that.
You guys are a bunch of idiots because you didn't listen to it in context. Manning said it in jest. He's a sarcastic guy. He's very, very funny. And I don't know. I guess you have to be around Peyton Manning to get it. I mean, if you just read it literally, if you just read it word for word, I suppose in print, it sounds like he's complaining. Trust me, he wasn't complaining. He was saying it as a joke. Go and really look at it and listen to it. and you'll realize what's going on. LaShawn McCoy, that's awesome. I hope you run for 250 yards. You know, that's great. Keep running. Because if you're running that much, you're probably scoring about 18 points. So I think that's absolutely incredible that you keep running and you grind that clock out and you run for 250 yards. The Eagles scored 24 points and only lose by 20. So I think that's a wonderful idea. Keep motoring right along.
Well, this is Philadelphia. You know we blow up comments like that.
Well, I know. It's why you guys are so annoying like that. But I mean, it's what you do.
Yeah.
So you do what you do, and that's what it is. So,
yeah, I'm a Philadelphia area guy, so I know what you're talking about. I'm a little bit more patient than the common fan here in the city of brotherly love. But the talk out there, I mean, the start that this Broncos team is off to is almost mythical. Peyton Manning, 12 touchdowns to no interceptions, and the weapons that he has on the field, that offense is almost unstoppable. There are a lot of comparisons being made to that 2007 New England Patriots team that went 16-0 and then lost in the Super Bowl to the Giants?
A lot. That's an excellent comparison because Manning's on that sort of pace, and there's still hesitation out here because a lot of people out here feel this is a 16-game preseason because that Ravens loss was so disappointing last year. I mean, it really sank a lot of people's hearts. I think it'll be a fun ride, but trust me, I'm not going crazy with it. I do think the Broncos will be favored in every game. They very well could go undefeated, but as we talk about it out here, it's you can go undefeated, but nobody's like predicting they win the Super Bowl. It would be very, very surprising and disappointing if the Broncos don't get there this year. But I think we all realize in the playoffs, if the Broncos have a cold, wet, rainy day, even here, anything can happen. Now, I bet the Broncos would have a better chance of the playoffs if they played inside at Indy and Houston, if they could get that lucky. But we'll see. But that's not what the deal is this weekend, is it? So, you got to enjoy the ride and worry about the rest later.
Darren McKee joins us from 104.3 The Fan out there in Denver, hosts the show Afternoon Drive from 3 to 8 with Big Al, former Denver Broncos player. And Darren, this offense with Wes Welker, the addition he has, and I'm a Patriot fan, so I saw what he was able to do with Tom Brady, and you make that comparison to the 07 Patriots. This relationship between Welker and Manning just looks really special. It looks like they've been playing together for 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I agree. It's been amazing to watch, and it clicked almost instantly. Manning took Welker and Demarius Thomas and Eric Decker to Duke to work out with his old college coach, David Cutcliffe, who's the head guy there at Duke. And ever since we've been watching it in OTAs and minicamp, it feels like that. And there have been some epic battles between Chris Harris and Wes Welker when Welker was a Patriot, and you should see the battles of training. I mean, it's fun to watch. And you know what? And Chris Harris is a great cornerback. But more times than not, Wes Welker will get the better of him. And he's just one of those guys you're like, boy, he's not that physically imposing. He's not necessarily that fast. But he is always open. It's crazy. I mean, it's insane to me the Patriots got rid of Wes Welker. I mean, they were keeping murderers over Wes Welker. I mean, it was ridiculous. Ridiculous move for your Patriots, who are the least impressive undefeated team in the NFL right now.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. And when that came out and it was turned out to be a difference of like $2 million, I was just in awe that they didn't pay him. But that's the way that sometimes the Patriots operate when players get up there in age. But it was an inane move to say the least. But you see this Denver Broncos offense, and you just mentioned it. There's so many weapons on that offensive side of the ball where you have a player like Wes Welker, and sometimes he's going to get put up against a linebacker. And me being a Pat fan, I know anytime Wes Welker's on a linebacker, he gets 10 yards. And then sometimes they try to jam him. Like I remember Darrelle Revis used to sometimes go up against Wes Welker, but then the beauty of the Broncos offense is when you put a big shutdown corner on Wes Welker, you have Thomas open and you have Decker even in single coverage as well.
Good luck, right? You just nailed it, and that's what's been happening. If you look at the distribution of passes, it's been very, very equal. And yeah, okay, like it's a three-headed horse in terms of the running back position, but So what's McCoy averaging? Like 132 yards, something like that?
Yeah, it's around that.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
Who's next? What's the next guy? It's probably Vic, right, with running. The Broncos, even though they're sharing the running load, they could easily put up 130, 150 yards on the ground.
Three-headed monster. Yeah.
That's right, and that's why, to me, running in the NFL it's got to be the most overrated thing in the world right now, because who cares how you get those running yards as long as you can run the ball after you get the lead. Great example, real quick. In the first half of the Broncos-Raiders game, the Broncos were throwing the ball 2-1 to running the ball. 2-1, okay? They put up a 27-7 lead, and guess what they did then? Then, in the second half, they only scored 10 points, but they ground things out, and they ran the ball 2-1 in terms of throwing the ball. That's what you need to do, is score points and then run. Mm-hmm. That's why I say the running game means nothing if you're not scoring points. So you got to convert that, LaShawn.
Yeah, the Broncos offense really has the formula to win already down pat. I mean, the bunch of weapons that they have on the offensive side of the rock, they get that lead passing the ball with Peyton Manning, and then once the second half comes around, they have three running backs who are all viable, who can all, get first downs and run the clock out. But moving to the defensive side of the ball, the defense against the run has been outstanding, one of the better units against the run. In the past, that's not necessarily the case. They struggle against the pass, but this has been without Von Miller and Champ Bailey. How good can this defense be? Those are two really, really solid Pro Bowl caliber players.
It's been very surprising. You're shocking, actually, to be honest with you. I mean, they got Terrence Knighton as a free agent defensive tackle, and he just looked fat all during training camp. And he's turned out to play really well during the season. And then you have an unheralded guy like Mitch Unrein. There's no way anybody's ever heard of Mitch Unrein. It's doubtful somebody's really heard of Kevin Vickerson. But these guys, and Sylvester Williams is their first-round pick, and he's sort of in the last guy in that rotation. Derek Wolfe has been great. Malik Jackson, guys you've never heard of before, have all been doing a fantastic job clogging things up. Their linebackers are interesting, too, because they're small, but they're fast and they're tough. Wesley Witcher's their middle linebacker. He's 6 foot, like 230. I mean, that's a shrimp in the NFL. Danny Trevathan's even smaller, and he's filling in Von Miller's spot. Nate Irving's in there, who nobody's ever heard of. So it's a bunch of guys that are doing a great job. And the secondary, without Champ, and this is without Champ, has been terrific. Your boy, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
Please don't bring that up, man. That's
they like to forget
subject.
about the Dream Team years here in Philadelphia.
Guess what? He can play football.
I can't believe it.
Great season so far.
He's always been a guy that has possessed the talent. He's got exceptional speed, but the effort last 2 years here in Philadelphia just wasn't there, and I think he just didn't simply fit the scheme that the Eagles were trying to run on the defensive side of the ball. And to see him breaking up passes on a couple of primetime games that I've been able to watch, I'll tell you what, it hurts.
Dude, and he's been hitting like a mother out
and that's
here,
something
too.
he could never do in Philadelphia. I really don't get it.
I know. And he was hurt at the beginning of camp, and I was like, wow, the Broncos may have made a huge mistake here. But as soon as he got healthy, golly, he's been, he's a Florida guy. Maybe he missed not seeing the sun there in Philadelphia. I don't know. It's a bizarre turnaround. And let me tell you, the Broncos corners are a bigger crew. Mm-hmm. And it's been and their safety helped too. They got all these undrafted guys. Dookie Inacho. There's no way you've ever heard of Dookie Inacho.
No way.
And he's maybe their best defensive player. He was an undrafted guy. He was on the practice squad last year, and he beat out Mike Adams, a 9-year vet, for the starting safety spot. I mean, it's stories like that you can't see coming that have all happened and been impressive. However, I will tell you this. They do kind of like leak points. Like they give away points and scores when they probably shouldn't. So I would not be surprised if the Eagles score 25 to 28 points. So that's pretty good overall. It's just that, the Broncos offense is going to put up 40. That's the way it goes.
Darren, we really appreciate the time today. Thanks so much, and let's talk to you again real soon. And best of luck on Sunday. I'm sure you guys won't need it, as the Broncos should probably steamroll the Eagles.
Give my love to LaShawn McCoy. I hope he runs his heart out up here.
Darren McKee right there from 104.3 The Fan. Great spot with him. He's always a mouthful. We got to take a quick break, and when we get back on the other side, it is a Temple Football Coaches Show with Tyree Foreman. We'll be back right after these short messages.